Hey everyone, Leanne Pilkington here for the latest edition of Courageous Conversations. And I have got a really interesting guest for you today. Jason Partington came into my world, or the world of Lang and Simmons, through Dave Robinson, our growth coach, and his program Making Meditation Mainstream. Hey Jason, how are you?
How are you, Leanne?
Yeah,
Thanks.
going really well. So making meditation mainstream is all about exactly what it says, right? Taking the stigma away from meditation. Can you tell me just a little bit about that program?
Yeah, it started off as a program which was a community outreach. So we started that program back in the late part of 2018, and essentially it was a group gathering on a Saturday morning at 6:30 in the morning. Um, uh, where we would sort of meditate on the sand, connecting at the beach. It started with just myself and a bit of a flag, and and it's ended up
I'm
now.
sure people will come. I'm sure they
I know
will. Yeah.
the first couple of sessions were pretty lonely. I was hoping someone was going to join. Um, but it's ended up being, over the last 18 months, we've ended up creating 14 locations, and with a huge goal of hundreds of these things globally. And it's also, because of COVID, we've ended up doing meditations online as well. So
Yeah.
we've not only, got the group community aspect and the face-to-face, but we've also got the online content as well.
So this is your passion. You do have a real job, so to speak. So tell me what got you to why is this so important to you?
Yeah, look, it probably, the story for me started when I was 28. So, and that was the turning point for me, like bringing meditation into my life. So, when I was 28, I was pretty lost. I didn't really have much direction. I was following a stereotype pretty much. I was from Adelaide. I had, beautiful parents, and I went to nice schools, and I was very privileged, and I was very lucky to have that upbringing. But I was also brought up with a fairly big stereotype around who I should be, get a job, get a degree, get a house, wife, kids,
Kids,
dog,
yeah.
the rest, and then boom, you're happy. Then that's it. Happiness is that. So I did all that, and I was very unhappy. and
Yeah, right.
so I started drinking and things like that when I was very young. We had a very in Adelaide we had a very footy type beer culture. Men drinking, and that led to sort of
Men doing men things.
and binge drinking and escaping into those sort of things. So
Yeah.
When sort of I was unhappy, then I would sort of launch myself into many of these types of escapes and addictions, and addictions and escapes can be anything. For me it was alcohol predominantly, and then went into drugs, but it also went into things like exercise as well. Too much exercise, and exercising there, and social media, and a whole range of basically not dealing with what was going on inside, and using a whole bunch of different other escapes on the outside to try to not have to deal with it, basically. So for me, that was a big turning point, because a friend basically could see that I was going down a very, very bad path, and rescued me and took me to a meditation course, which was a 5-week meditation course. And at the end of that,
How did you react to that at the time? Because if you're a typical footy loving beer drinking bloke, meditation is not something that normally you would go to easily. I wouldn't have thought.
consider a cat above water. that's so. I mean, I was saying, this is not for me. It's not.
Yeah.
I'm not a hippie. I don't believe in this thing. It's deeply religious. It's
Yeah.
I was completely turned around in 5 weeks. I chose to stop looking on the outside, and I started to go on a journey on the inside, and I just started asking all these questions. Like, what is life, and why am I here, and what's and not that I had the answers, but I started looking inside for answers rather than externally for answers. And that course set me up. It was quite a committed course of meditating twice a day, and so I created the habit. And what I realized was, I'm a much nicer, connected, giving, kinder person with meditation than I am without it. And so, when I wasn't meditating, I was finding that I was fueled with fear and like very much letting my ego do the talking. And so I decided that I'd just keep on meditating because I was calmer and content and all those sort of things. And so fast forward 21 years. I guess the crux of the situation for us, for me, was in late 2018, we had 33 suicides in our local area in one year.
And you're now in Sydney, right? You're on the northern beaches.
Yeah. So northern beaches of Sydney, and unfortunately, we're a bit renowned, and we for having.
Yeah, you are. I've got a lot of friends in that part of the world, and unfortunately, there is, for whatever reason, a very high suicide rate, particularly with men, young men, right?
Yeah, look, it's we're losing 8 people a day, and 6 of those are men. That's the That's the statistics from 2018, 2019, Beyond Blue, and that hasn't changed, and it's increasing. It's increasing year on year, and now with COVID, they are forecasting some pretty horrific increases in that suicide rate and mental health challenges.
I was actually speaking to the Shadow Minister for Women on a podcast last week or the week before, and she was saying that during COVID, inquiries to shelters and refuges are up by 930%.
Yeah.
Scary, right?
Unfortunately, 2 days ago, Lifeline broke a record, and that was well over 3,300 crisis calls in a day.
Wow.
Which is massive, when you think about, really truly think about that. So, I mean, that for me, that was all I needed to see that. And I'd just been working on my own personal practice for 21 years, and all of a sudden it was like a shining light. It was, because it saved me in so many different ways. I was wondering why more people weren't coming towards it. Yeah. And the same stereotype existed back when I was 28, and it was the same now. And particularly men don't come towards meditation. They think it's the same stereotype that I thought 21 years ago. And so making meditation mainstream was, how could we rebrand it? How could we make it look different so it was more available and it wasn't so deeply spiritual, or it didn't look that it was only for a certain sector of the community? How can we make it look more normalized? How can we make it more, so if you went down to a beach like 2 years ago or 1 year ago, you'd only ever see one person maybe here or there if you were lucky meditating. And that makes people feel like, oh, that's a unique thing. Whereas if people saw a group of people meditating that were all supposedly normal mainstream people meditating together, then it would normalize it, and it would create this sort of feeling of, oh, well, that could be for me. So that's why we've created a scenario where it's a very easy walk-in situation, and it feels normal, and it doesn't feel crazy to do meditation. It feels, in fact, a beautiful thing to do with other people.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I have a lot of, because I try to meditate. In fact, I have done a session with you down at Avalon Beach early one morning, which was just beautiful to sit there and meditate. Usually when I meditate, I need to have something going on that I can focus on, a guided meditation, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But being on the beach, you're just listening to the waves, and it was a really beautiful experience. So I'm an on and off meditator. I know that it helps me, and then I get busy and I stop, and then I need to get that back into that habit. But I have a lot of people around me that I talk to about it, and they say, oh no, I can't meditate. I've tried, I can't. So what would you say to those people? Because they're like, oh, I can't shut off that voice in my head. But it's not about shutting the voice off, really, is it? It's about acknowledging that voice and letting it go. Is that?
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better, really. I mean, you can't control your thoughts. You can't control that. It's not a practice that you can control, is thoughts coming in and thoughts going. And I think that's where people get stuck a lot, is that they feel that they they have the ability to control thoughts. Well, that's not the case. It's more of an acknowledgement, and it's how you handle that environment and situation. Many people get stressed because of it. A simple directive to say, I saw a man last week who was part of my courses, and he constantly referred to his meditation being up here, and I just said, look, imagine if you're not meditating out of your head, but you're actually meditating out of your heart. And that one thing, he did a meditation, and he came to me after, he said that one thing changed everything. Just that fact of dropping through that layer of the head and actually meditating from the heart was enough for him to have a different experience.
There's lots of different ways. I know some people can have it your thoughts are like a bubble that you just let it drift off. Whereas for me, I like to think that I'm underwater with the waves. And the waves just kind of, the thoughts just go over and I just let them go and I'm just floating. Yeah, so anyway, to each their own. Yeah. So you've now got every weekend it was 13 locations on Sydney beaches at the moment.
We've got 14 now. 14,
okay.
14, and we've got another 6 to roll out over the next 6 months. We're actually launching in Switzerland and Hawaii coming up as well.
Wow, how exciting. Do you get to go for the launch? I know, silly question.
Not
you can't go anywhere. Yeah, that's right. Damn.
I can't even go to Queensland.
No, I know.
I know. It's a changed world, but
this for you really is about doing something proactive to actually improve people's mental health and then hopefully positively impact the suicide rate, right?
Totally, yeah. We would, and I think that's why we've got such a strong partnership with Lifeline. Especially the way that we're doing this sort of mainstream connection with people it's not so much the meditation, it's more about connecting people. So for us, it's about connection and it's about community, and those two things align very well with Lifeline. I mean, Lifeline see a lot of the back end, so they are supporting people who are already in a situation of crisis, and they really enjoy the partnership that we're growing together, because we're working on the front end, and we're trying to avoid that situation by giving people skills and tools and community that they can draw upon, that is going to allow them to find a different way forward, rather than falling into crisis. Those two things are such strong things. If people get seen, if they get seen and they get held, those two things, being seen and feeling connected inside, but also feeling connected to nature and connected to each other, forming community where you're seen and held. Yeah, it's a very strong thing for people. If you've got those two things, then I think you've got a lot more resilience to be able to deal and have capacity to deal with life. If you've got those two things going on, it's not the answers to everything, but it is something which is filling your cup. And that's what we're trying to do, is we fill the cup, and we've got people that come down every week, and that's their cup fill. They come down, they look forward to it so much, they're not having their cups filled at all during the week, but they come to that one session, it gets filled, and then they go. Yeah, it's quite wonderful. I know all of the Lang & Simmons offices on the northern beaches have partnered, as has Lang & Simmons corporate, and I know that the team often get down there to meditate with you on the weekends, which is awesome. Now you have got a 28 for 28 happening in the month of October. Tell me about that and why October. Yeah, so October is Mental Health Month. The theme for this year for Mental Health Month is tune in. So, what better connection towards meditation than those words of tune in? We were particularly, we're aware of the statistical situation going on from Lifeline and the increase in the call rates, and so as a direct result of COVID. And so we had that sort of inside knowledge, and a couple of months ago we were like, well, how can we be more impactful? How can we make this take something and put it into the community more, and also help and support Lifeline with what they're doing, because we really, really need them, and they're under great pressure and stress to be able to deal with this as well. So we came up with the idea of the 28 for 28 campaign. So what we're really asking the community is to commit to 28 days during Mental Health Month of doing 10 minutes a day of meditation. That's the first part. So the commitment towards their own mental health and feeling the difference of what it's like to actually drop into meditation and connection for 10 minutes a day and to see how you feel at the end of 28 days. So that's the first part. The second thing we're asking is for them to raise $28 or $1 a day throughout the entire promotion. So the $28 is key because that's what it costs Lifeline in order for them to resource and train someone to be able to answer that crisis call, which could potentially save a life. So we're asking people to commit to their own mental health for the 28 days with 10 minutes and at the same time raise $28 for Lifeline to support that one call. So support one call, two calls, three calls, however many you can, you fundraise, you can have a team fundraising and get together as a staff unit or as a team and raise lots of funds. You can get t-shirts and merchandise. But essentially we're looking to raise that awareness, support Lifeline through this, to support their initiatives because they're such an incredible support and also commit to themselves. That's really where it's at.
Yeah, it sounds great. I get my t-shirt on Monday.
Good.
So I will. I'll do my social media posts, and I will commit to that meditation. I keep talking about going back to it, and I do it for a day or two. But I promise I will do it for 28 days.
Awesome.
So Lifeline, do Lifeline with statistics like that? Did you say 3,300 calls in one day?
Yeah, across Australia.
Across Australia, and I'm guessing they don't have the resources to take all those calls, right?
Well, look, I've been down there. I've been at the Lifeline offices. So there's one thing getting data. It's another thing sitting there being a witness and seeing how these angels. Really, these people who are in Lifeline that sit there and help people on the other side of the line, have incredible capacity. And what was really impactful for me was obviously there is not enough people to handle all the calls all the time. So what was very impactful for me when I was there was seeing people waiting on the other end while there wasn't enough resources and then seeing it hang up.
Yes.
Now, we don't know what happens.
No.
Yeah, we don't know what happens. So, but for me to watch that and to witness that means we need more resources. We need more people to answer more calls.
Yeah. There's no doubt about that. So if people want to get involved in 28 for 28 or they want to know more about what you do, where can they find more information?
The easiest way is to go to the Making Meditation Mainstream website, which is, as you'd expect, makingmeditationmainstream.com.au. Or they can go to Instagram or socials and just look up at Making Meditation Mainstream. And both of those have links and everything. There's an event page. So you just go towards the event page. You can register. You can register on our website and just get involved in Making Meditation Mainstream is supporting everyone through October. We're doing 3 meditations a day, 5 meditations online. So actually 2 of them are live at 6:30 and at 8 p.m., 6:30 in the morning and at 8 p.m. at night. And we've got a beautiful audio recorded meditation, and they're all really express ones, just 10 to 12 minutes that we're launching in the middle of the day. So in the middle of the day, there's a beautiful audio, crisp audio that Roland Music have got on board and supported us as well. So, I've got great audio there as well.
Oh, that's great. I will, I'll check it out myself and work out where my 10 minutes is going to fall. And if people want to come to the beach on a Saturday morning, do they need to book in or they can just turn up?
They just rock up. We are COVID safe, so we've got COVID regulations and procedures that we follow. And if we're very fortunate that we have more than 1 litre at we've got anywhere between 2 to 5 litres at any location. So if more than 20 people rock up, we we stayed two different groups
Yep.
with people, and we got sanitizer and registrations and everything.
All that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can tell you from personal experience, everybody, it's definitely worth it. It's such a beautiful way to start your day. So congratulations on everything that you're working towards. I'm absolutely thrilled that we've been able to partner with you for this, because it is so important. It's something that we are we're all passionate about within our business. So thank you, and thank you for taking the time to be with us today.
My pleasure. Thanks, Leanne.